everyone, my name is Mulletzzz and welcome back to the Streaming Armour podcast with the one and only Maikeru. Say hello, Maikeru. Do your little thing.
Hi guys, Maikeru here. Good to be me.
So legendary. We have a guest today. A guest we haven't really had before, and we haven't really mentioned too much either because he is quite new. I think we even did the podcast before he started up. Mullets, hello there. So for the people who don't know you, like, how would you explain to them what you are or who you are?
Well, my name is Mullets. I have been streaming for about 8 months, and I just happened to stumble upon Runescape 3 around the same exact time. So I would say that my content and like myself playing Runescape is just me plebbing around, just trying to figure out like how everything is. Lately, I've been doing bossing content, trying to figure out like the PVM mechanics and stuff. But yeah, man, like it's a struggle bus.
Yeah. Well, straight off the bat, right? Because we're going to talk a little bit about the new player experience and things like that, and like your introduction to streaming and all that stuff. But what gets me the most interested is how you discovered RuneScape in the first place, especially considering the player base is kind of going down. It's not been as popular as it used to be, and people keep saying there are new people who starts out the game, but we don't really see them all too much. Tell me your story. How did that go about?
I like that question.
So I actually I caught the flu and I had nothing to do, and my buddy messaged me and was like, hey, I play RuneScape, you should give it a try. And I wasn't trying anything like absolute crazy, but like I picked up fire making and wood cutting and stuff like that. But here's the interesting thing about this. Like, I got a couple more of my friends to, join along with me, and none of those people actually play RuneScape. Like, they picked it up for just like a couple weeks, and then they just stopped playing. So I'm actually the only one out of that group left that's still playing, which is very interesting. I think to myself all the time, I don't know if I would still be playing if I didn't start streaming, because the new player experience is really tough. Like, there's so much that just gets thrown at you, and it's what, the game's almost like 20 years old now, so it's like 20 years of content just getting thrown at you constantly. So it's rough.
I really like the way like you mentioned about your friend messaging. You make it sound like he's confessing like a sin. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I play RuneScape. I know it's. You should probably try it out. Maybe you can give me your free stuff or something. I don't. It just sounds like this like confession that it doesn't really want to talk about it, but there you go, I guess.
It's the guilty pleasure.
It is funny though, because that story is basically the same as my own. Because I started playing RuneScape when I was I think it was 11 or 12, right? It's a very long time ago at this point. And at that point, all of my friends played the game. Like, everyone thought it was the coolest thing ever. We raced to get 9, well, we didn't really go for 9 nights at the time, but I think the best in my class had level 43 or something in some skill. I can't remember what skill it was even, but that was really cool, right? And out of everyone who played at the time, I'm still the only one left.
Yeah.
The only one! I can relate to that so much. It's sad though, isn't it? To just see everyone leave you like that.
It is. It's really sad, and especially in the streaming section. I feel like the reason why people were so drawn to my stream right away too was because I was quite new. I remember my first day streaming, everyone was like, "Oh, are you an Iron Man?" And then I was like, "No, I'm not. I don't even know what an Iron Man is. What is that?" So, and they freaked out, they had never saw a new player before, which is not. I don't know if that's a good sign or not.
Wow. I'm kind of trying to think because I've been trying to stream sometimes. I'm more of a video maker side of things, but whenever I try to stream, it doesn't really kick off very much. I'm not really good on camera, well, on live camera at least. So I think that must mean your personality must be very suiting for live streaming. Or either that, or people just love the idea of helping out new people. I feel like the RuneScape 3 community is very good at helping out new people.
It was crazy. Like the very first day, like people were just handing me stuff, and I didn't know it like any better. I'm just like, thank you, thank you. Next thing I know, I have like full Virtus, like 200 mil. I'm just like, oh, what do I do with this? I don't understand. I was like, this is overwhelming already.
That must be very sweet for you. How was that for? Well, okay. A bit of a weird question, but RuneScape is obviously not the first game you're playing, right? So, how do you feel about the community giving you things for free? Like, do you feel that's like a cheating head start of sorts, or are you okay with that?
Now that I have a pretty like decent base, I don't really take stuff like anymore unless people like I'll have messages. It's like, hey, I can't support you on the stream. I would like to support you in RuneScape. I'm like, okay, I can't deny that. You just guilted me, man. So I will do that. But usually, like, you know, I'm doing Rex now. I've been trying out Telos, and so I have money making methods now. So people don't really donate, and I don't really accept stuff anymore. But at the very beginning, it was quite weird because it was like, oh, well, I have enough bones for 95 prayer now, and I didn't even do anything. So it took that away, but I felt like it was some guilt at the very beginning, but right when I started bossing and stuff, that definitely died away.
It's such a first world problem. Like, don't you just hate it when you start a new game and people give like 200 million, suddenly your RuneScape famous and you can't take donations anymore?
But that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I understand that it's like, oh no, it's really bad getting free stuff, oh no. But honestly, I feel like getting free stuff isn't actually that great.
Yeah.
Because part of the fun of RuneScape is grinding. And you have to grind for the GP, and then you have to grind for the levels and everything. And I feel like you're missing part of your grind by, you know, just getting given the free stuff. You don't get the struggle, you just get the reward, which I guess is fair if you're a streamer and you want to just like quick lane it, but you know what I mean. Like, I think I'd rather have the struggle personally, because I think it would eliminate some of the fun for me. What about you, Mullets? Did it eliminate some of the fun for you?
I think it was a kickstart because I don't know, it definitely got me in the right direction, but I think even me grinding would get me right in the direction, like in the same direction. But I think everyone watching me was just like, they were impatient and they were like, here you go, just let's get you, you know, where I'm at now. So I think it did take away from the grinding, because that would probably be like, I don't know, another day, 2 of just really hard work to get, let's say, all those bones for 95 or 99 prayer and stuff like that. So
yeah. So, you started streaming, obviously. What was the idea behind that?
So, the same friend that got me into RuneScape actually just wanted me to stream it and play games because he was at work and he had nothing to do and he just watched streams. He's like, I'd rather just watch you play. And I started streaming 2 weeks or 3 weeks before I started streaming RuneScape. I did a full run of Dark Souls, and so because that was like one of his favorite games, and I did it for him. And then he was like, hey, well, let's play RuneScape now. And I had 3 weeks of like the Dark Souls community, right? And it was nothing compared to the RuneScape community. Like, I had more love and support from day one on RuneScape than I ever did like almost a month of Dark Souls, which is crazy.
You sound like such a good friend, though. Like, this guy is like sitting around and works like, oh, I'm bored.
Yeah,
entertain me. And you're like, oh, I'll stream.
It was definitely weird because I'm not really... Everyone thinks like I'm very outgoing and like hyper and all this because, you know, that's what I am on my stream. But like deep down, like I'm a very quiet person. I'm to myself. So the very first couple weeks of streaming, it was quite rough for me. But now it like I hit the live button and I'm ready to go. Like I get pumped thinking about it. So
Yeah, I was definitely the same when I first started streaming. When I first got my webcam, I remember just feeling vulnerable, like everyone could see everything that I did.
Yeah.
I guess it's those little things that get you at the start, but then the more you do, the more it becomes like second nature, right?
Yeah.
I never understood what to say on stream. Like, that's my biggest challenge. I get that you'll be like, oh, you need to talk to the chat and whatever, but when they don't speak to you and you're like sitting there gaming, you can only, like, for example, if you're like fire making, it's only so much you can say about that.
Yeah, that's the issue with RS3 because it is like a grind fest.
Yeah.
And if you're doing a higher tier boss and doing San Intense, then it's okay. But if you're not doing that, it's normally from talking to chat and interacting with chat. But if there is no chat, there honestly really isn't that much you can do. It's more like at the start of your streaming, you want to make sure that you have something good to showcase. Once you build up a chat, it's a lot different because then you can constantly talk to them and there's constant chat going, so it doesn't matter if you're fire making, if you have lots of people to talk to. But when you're first starting off, you don't have that chat, so you need to find a good, boss to do or a goal to set yourself, or even if it's just something like questing, something that's constantly changing and constantly engaging different stuff that you can talk over. That will definitely help at the start for sure.
This game just sounds like a very glorified chatting room.
Yeah, it pretty much is. Yeah, that's my stream in a nutshell.
Yeah, so when I started streaming, like I'm not evil Lucario, I'm not great at bossing, I'm not good at clues like duty. I had to talk. Like I didn't have anything really else going for me. Like I was hitting oak trees. So I had to talk. I had to be like very engaging. And I think that's really set me up very well because I've built this community, but like I know them so well. I think I enjoy talking to them more than I do playing RuneScape. Like because I consider all these people that watch me my friends because I see them more, than my regular friends. So like, I don't know, like I enjoy just hitting the live button and just talking to them because, that's what I had to do. I had to be more engaging because the gameplay just wasn't there. I wasn't doing Telos, I wasn't doing Rags. And I actually don't, where I'm learning bossing, I don't really talk to chat while I'm bossing because I can't do both right now. I can't multitask.
You're such a sweet guy. I really like you.
Thanks, Will.
I feel like you're being this is the first time I talk to you, but I already feel like you care about me.
I do care about you, Will.
Just the way you talk about your viewers and how they matter to you. It's very sweet.
I appreciate it. But yeah, so I will actually talk to chat afterwards, but some of the people when I'm bossing, they're not used to it. They're like, notice me. It's I'm trying to make sure that I try to get to at least everyone at least once because everyone's like, you remember when Mullets used to talk to us? I'm like, guys, I'm sorry. I don't want to die to Rex. He's being mean. So it feels bad sometimes, but we make through it.
Yeah, that's the part of the game where you don't have to interact as much with chat, though, because then the content speaks for itself. Unless you're someone crazy like Evil Lucario who can, do 4K Telos and talk to chat. Most people won't be super active with chat while bossing.
Yeah, Evil Lucario is a mad lad, dude. He's insane. I can't even boss and talk to the chat and he's sitting there just having a good old time and he's just, the muscle memory's insane for him.
Yeah, 100%. There's always one interaction that I had with Evil Lucario that would always stand out to me. We've raided each other a fair amount of times, and one of the times that I raided him, he was doing 4K Telos. He does a lot of 4K Telos, and he was just doing it to see if he could make some money, get some orbs, etc. And at this particular time, someone in chat asked him a question about his hit splats. He has legacy hit splats on, which you have to go to your settings to set. So someone asked how do you put those legacy hit splats on? And he was like, oh yeah, you go here, you go to your settings, and under this setting, it's right there. You can see the legacy ones. You can toggle that on. But while he was showing this, he was killing 4K Telos He was still casting all of his rotation. He was still like, managing to kill the boss, remembering the rotations, etc. And, he didn't die. Like, and there's no one else, honestly, that could do what he does. It's just nuts. It's not even funny. Like, I wish I was that good at bossing and being able to multitask at the same time.
How does he compare to like the other PVMers at this point?
I'd say Evil Lucario is the best PVMer in the game right now.
What happened to like I can't forget any names. The guy who did like a really high end rage on Telos.
Sadden?
Badden? Is that it?
Well, Sadden was the first ever 4K enraged Telos, but he doesn't really stream. He is very good at PVM though, of course. And there's people like Couchy. Couchy's very amazing at PVM, but he just listens to music, doesn't interact with chat and stuff, just like does his thing with people watching, which is completely fair, and he's that good at PVM that people just enjoy watching it. But the fact that Evil Lucario does that and interacts with chat on top of that, I think that Lucario is just like a step above everyone else because of that. His technical skill is there, but he also does all the other multitasking stuff. It's not trying to take away anything from anyone else. They're all well better than me, but I think he is the best.
It's super hard to multitask like that until like you actually do it, and then because he has like 100, 200 people, just talking to him, and then like he's just doing all those things. I actually had Evil Lucario come to my stream and teach me DPS rotations because I had no idea what I was doing, and the amount of knowledge that guy has for the mechanics of this game is insane.
How do you feel like you've been received by the other streamers? Do you feel like you're making friends with them, or how's your perception of that?
I think I'm friends with about almost all the other streamers. We actually it was actually like a month into my stream, we had the Queen Black Dragon challenge with that Maikeru set up, and I happened to be asked to be on that, which I was very happy to do so, since I had just started streaming, and I actually got to know everyone, and it was a really good experience. But I try to show my love to all like the rest of the streamers. We're all out here, just grinding and stuff. So if I have the chance to host them or show them love any other way on stream, I definitely try to.
So how do you feel? While I'm a bit of a streaming noob, right? So I don't really pay attention too much to the Twitch community per se, but I do know that there are a lot of people who do stream RuneScape through who don't have too many views and are not necessarily a part of the, I'm not gonna say the greater community, but like the more of the inner circle, I say, which you're slowly becoming a part of from what I can see. What would you say to those? Like, because obviously, RuneScape has these like content creator discourse. There's like the golden gnomes and all those kind of various things and little communities with streamer competitions going on, which I feel like just a handful of the massive pool of RuneScape 3 streamers are being a part of. What would you say to kind of get in touch with everyone else and becoming a part of that inner circle?
So it's a grind. It's a grind for sure. I would first say, have content creation, not like every time that I stream and then people come in, they start asking about streams. The next, they're like, hey, I want to start streaming, but like the next thing that they ask is, how do I make money from it? And I think that's like a very bad start, especially when, in content creation, because they're going to be disappointed in the money aspect if that ever happens, and it's going to die off. So my first thing would be make content because you love making content, and just, be yourself, but give something that other people are not giving. Like Maikeru said, I think I'm the first person to stream, my full experience. Like, I got my first 99 on stream. My whole community has been with me for the past 7-8 months, and we have grown. And, when I killed Telos for the first time, I think my chat was more excited than I was. Like, I was hyped, but, like, we've had this journey for, 8 months, 7 months or whatever, and I don't know, I feel there's so much competition. I guess you can use that word because, everyone is out there and trying to do their thing, and you have to stand out. And it might be my mullet as well, the business in the front and the party in the back, but I think those things have just really set me up, and it's really awesome to be like getting put like with what are considered like the big dogs and stuff here lately. Like a lot of people have been like, "Oh, you're a big streamer now," and all of this, and it's nice because, man, I've worked so hard, man. It's awesome seeing like it finally just all starting to click, and it's very nice.
That's really nice for you, though. You just see everything just come together like that.
Obviously, it takes a long time, though, right? So it's like Mulletzzz has been streaming for his 8 months, but he's been streaming pretty much every single day for that time. And now recently he's streaming 2 times a day. So he's saying like, oh, hey, look, it's coming together. But honestly, I don't think he's painting the full picture right now because he's putting a ton of effort in this time. It's not just like he got a quick, hey, look, I'm instantly growing. He's worked hard at it and definitely deserves it. I just wanted to add that because, yeah, you've been working very hard for sure.
Well, 100%. Like, I'm not painting the full picture, but it's almost been 4 months now. 4 months ago, I was actually laid off from my computer programming position. It was a government position, and they got really like laid back, and they lost their 10-year contract, which laid off 80% of the company. And I was, 4 months into my stream or whatever, and at the end of the day, I talked to my wife, and I was like, I can do this. Like, I can make this happen. And she was like, all right, is it the most, responsible thing? I was like, no. The most responsible thing would be go get, another job. But I was like, give me 1 month. If we can make 1 month happen, then we will push for it. And she goes, you got 1 month. And I was like, thank you, hon. And then now we're here 4 months later. But I stream 2 times a day. I stream in the morning for about 4+ hours, and then at night for 4+ hours. So when I say that I'm grinding, I'm working my ass off every day. And it's quite hard sometimes, especially with the stress, especially right now with the epidemic going on. My wife was currently laid off of her position because of the coronavirus, and it just makes me want to work even harder, but stressful times. But right when I hit the live button, man, it just changes. Like, you forget everything. You could be sick, you could be angry, but when you hit that live button and you hang out with everyone, it just changes everything.
I think you're a real inspiration, Mulletzzz. Your wife sounds extremely lovely. Like, being a content creator on any game or any form of being an influencer in general is a shot in the dark, right? It's like those singers who like go to Hollywood to become famous, and hardly any of them actually make it. And for you to actually say when you're getting laid off for your job that you're going to be a full-time streamer for a game that is 20 years old and you make it, that's wild. I mean, that's my dream. I've been doing this for years, and I've not even got to that point. It's absolutely crazy, and I think you're a really good inspiration for people out there who are still finding this game and have maybe been here for a good while and are still considering to create content. I think you're really inspirational that way.
Definitely. And the thing is, like, a lot of people will be trying to find shortcuts or doing it the lazy way nowadays. I see a lot of people that are like, oh, I stream once a week and I can't get any viewers. And it's like, yeah, you're not gonna get any viewers at the start. You're gonna have to put in the grind. You're gonna have to stream every day. You're gonna have to stream to know viewers and build up your base. I used to work in education, and honestly, I work 10 times more now than I did back then.
But it's so much more fun, though, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's amazing. I'm not going to say it's like, oh, it's bad work. I'm going to 100% agree that it's amazing and super fun, but I live to work now rather than, maybe getting time off that I used to. I'm always on now, but it's fun. I like that. I like the fun side, but it is a lot of work. And Mullets has seemed to embrace that, and he's doing well and working hard. And it's lovely to see, because he's able to progress. In 8 months, he's gone from having like 5 views to like 50 plus now, because of the amount of work that's gone in. And it shows that the work pays off, right?
It feels
it's good.
suddenly like a podcast where we're just promoting Mullets.
Guys, I feel so good right now. Like, it is like, well, with Maikeru, I mean, like, Maikeru was actually one of the content creators that I watched before streaming, right? And I remember the first time, like, because like Maikeru's been like, he's known my journey like almost since day one. Like, he hosted my channel right when I did my very first boss. And you talk about being a nervous wreck. I remember sitting there, is Queen Black Dragon. I was sitting there. I looked over, I was like, oh my gosh, 30 people are watching me. I was like, I'm freaking out. And then right before I go into the portal, Maikeru hosts me with like 150 people. And the chat goes so fast, I didn't know what was happening. I'm freaking out. Chat's freaking out. Queen Black Dragon's hit me. I'm standing in the water on Queen Black Dragon, getting damage from that. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is a mess. But it was a lot of fun.
I think that's one of the things as well, where it's like everyone needs to get content that's different, and there's so many people doing high-end Rage Telos and high-end bossing. When people see something like you struggle with QVD, a boss that typically everyone can do once they've been playing for a little while, and it's one of the first bosses that you do, it's kind of refreshing to see someone struggle there and their progression to bossing. I feel like a lot of people do get scared of doing content creation because of like they're scared that they're bad at a boss. Honestly, people enjoy watching it as long as you do it in a fun way. And I feel like even if you suck at the boss or you're learning a boss or you keep dying, as long as it's fun to watch, you're doing it in a comedic and enjoyable way, it's still going to bring in the viewers and it's still going to be enjoyable. And I think that's what Mullet's done well when I raided him. And that's why I continued to raid and everything like that. It's really nice and refreshing to see that from a new player's standpoint. And it's definitely a good selling point because it's different. Anything can be fun if you make it fun. And we'll go with that.
There's so many inspirational quotes from you there, Mike.
Good, yeah, nice.
I feel like, I imagine one of these like colorful backgrounds and just
his face with
everything
the
is
quote.
said on the screen with like, share this on Twitter or like.
Today is the day where we make a stand. Like, yeah, I good, lovely. Thank you for that, Will.
Talking about Twitter, my profile picture is still Maikeru, by the way. Haven't changed it. It's Maikeru with the hats on.
That confused me. I wanted a little stalker mode before this podcast, right? Because I was like, Mullets, who's that, right? Because I haven't, as I said, I'm not really into the Twitch thing too much. So I hadn't really heard about you before Maikeru let me know about you. So I went on a little stalker thing, right? I went on his Twitter and I just saw like Maikeru's face on this Twitter. And I was like, is Maikeru like promoting himself? Because it's like, oh yeah, we should have Mullets on the podcast.
It's
He's
just
great.
Maikeru's picture.
And I got his podcast and it's just Maikeru's face there. Like, wait, is this the same guy? What?
So when Maikeru and I first met, like it was just all for fun and games. Like our community, like he would say something like really funny against me, I would say something really funny against him, and it just became like just throwing jabs back and forth to the point where I was like, hey, 1v1 me in the wild, I'll bring my rubber chicken and I'm gonna spank you, dude.
Oh, okay.
And then it just became to like just meme after meme. So it's all for good fun, but I always forget to change it, so I think it's just gonna stay there.
It's a good picture.
It's literally me with loads of hats on. What?
Brings out your eyes,
Well
Maikeru.
representative.
Okay, yeah.
So I have a question though regarding, unless this gets way too personal, I was about to say, I have a question about your wife.
Yes.
And that sounded weird. But I'm mainly worrying, like, not worrying, wondering, how is she taking all of this, considering you're becoming, like, low-key RuneScape famous?
It's been weird. It's been really, really weird because, you know, as a content creator, you will receive messages, people talk to you throughout the day and stuff like that. So she at first was like, this is really weird. What if we get stalkers? And I was like, I don't think we're going to get stalkers, Lori, but you never know. And, but she's taken it really well. She actually gets involved in the chat sometimes. Her name on the stream is Mrs. Mullets, so she will get on the stream and she will actually join me every now and then. I think she's gonna join me on the stream on Friday. So she's getting used to it, and each day it gets better. But it's weird thinking about like the low key RuneScape famous, like it. Even for myself, it's still weird because like I will go into a stream and I didn't even say anything, but it was one of my buddy's streams. Zill, he's getting quite large as a RuneScape streamer himself, and he used my hype emote, and everyone spammed my emotes. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is weird. This is like weird for me. And I was like, Lori, I don't understand. I was like, I'm not even like, I haven't even said anything. Which that, Maikeru, how's that for you? Because, you know, you're quite larger than, you know, what my channel is. Like, do you like going into other streams and talking much, or is that like overwhelming sometimes? Or do you mostly just lurk?
Yeah, it's hard sometimes, man. Because, like, sometimes you just want to watch the stream and chill out, but sometimes you want to interact with the streamer because you're enjoying the stream, even if it's just slapping in a PogChamp or a LOL W or something just to hit them with an emote to show you're enjoying the stream, right? But then there'll be loads of people that try and talk to me or at me, and I'm not trying to be there to, you know, take anything away from the streamer themselves. I know that sounds kind of like, hey, look at me, I'm a big boy. Hey. But that's not what I mean. I just mean, like, sometimes I've said stuff in people's chats, and then it kind of takes it away from the streamer a little bit, and then people are asking me stuff. I'm not there to take away anything from the streamer. I'm there to support the streamer and have fun watching the streamer. So sometimes I just end up lurking and not participate just because of that, because I don't want to take away from their stream. If it's a friend, obviously it's a little bit different. So if I went into your stream, for example, Mullets, or plenty of other people's streams, I can talk to them. So because I'm engaging with them and talking to them as a friend and having a laugh, other people, if they talk to me or talk to them, we're all having a conversation together. It's when they directly speak to me, that's what I don't like, I guess. So it depends on what stream I'm in to whether I'll interact or not, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm getting to like the same point. Like I like watching streams. That's like something that I love doing. I love the Twitch platform, and anytime now that I go to a stream, the focus will turn and it's like, hey, there's Mulletz, you know, when's your stream? When's this? When's that? I don't feel as bad like when I'm in your stream, because like I'm in your stream every day, right? So I think it's normal for everyone to see myself in the stream. But like if I go to someone new, you know, or someone I haven't been, it's kind of overwhelming just to a bit, because like you want to relax and you don't want to put all like everything on you. So it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess it goes even further for me a little bit with in-game stuff. It's hard to just be a player of the game sometimes. I know that just sounds like I'm being entitled or something, or complaining that people like notice me. Don't get me wrong, I love talking to people, I love chatting to people, and I feel honored and privileged whenever someone comes up to me in game and starts talking to me. I always reply, always have time. But sometimes when you're having a down day or an off day, you just want to like switch off and just relax. But you can't do that, you're always on. People are always going to see you and talk to you, and I'm okay with that. Obviously it's part of the parcel, but yeah, it's hard when you don't have an off day. Same applies with Twitch, same applies with in-game. It's kind of crazy and it feels so surreal for sure, but I wouldn't trade it, and I love it. It's absolutely amazing, and speaking to everyone in game is fantastic. It can just be a bit, you know, overwhelming, but in a good way, I guess.
One always does appreciate the attention of that sense, though, because we realize like that whoever is talking to you are the people who's kind of making your career and all that kind of stuff. But I do agree entirely on that. Sometimes it is a bit of a bad timing, and sometimes it's like, try to say this without hating on people, I guess, but some people just want to talk, you know. They don't really say anything significant. It's just like, hey, what are you skilling? Haha, I just got 58 fire making earlier today. What are you doing right now? It's like,
Yeah.
I just want to go back to my Ark Island, dude.
Yeah, it's exactly that. But of course,
Yeah.
very grateful at the same time, like you said. It's just a very surreal circumstance.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then it's amplified even more when it comes to updates and stuff. You always see people in game and stuff whenever you're digging your teeth into new updates. One of the reasons why I'm so excited for archaeology, to be honest, is because I'll be able to see everyone and we'll be able to progress together, have fun together as a community. So I really like the fact that, you know, streaming can bring everyone together and get people looking at the new updates, and it brings those eyes to the actual streams and on Twitch. And it's just really cool all round. It benefits everyone when new things come out and all of that. And yeah, just really excited for stuff like archaeology and everything like that, for sure. How do you feel about all of that, Mullets?
So that actually scares me as a content creator with like new updates and stuff, because I'm not like with Maikeru, like people will come to you, they ask questions, you know, you make guides and all of this. With updates and stuff, I'm not the best person to come to, since, you know, I'm trying to learn the updates and stuff like that. And it's quite scary when updates happen for me, like content wise and stuff like that, just because I'm like, God, I don't know if people would want to watch me do that, you know? Like, I still have that, you know, sometimes in the back of my head. And I think especially a lot of streamers, they do. But at the end of the day, I still do it. And then it turns out well, but, like, still it's always in the back of my mind. Especially with archaeology coming out, that, like, it's been in the back of my mind. It's like, oh, man, I don't know if people would want to watch me struggle with this and stuff. And I'm really hard on myself. And that's one thing that chat always tells me, like when I'm learning stuff, like I'm always hard on myself. But I think that's what's pushed me to, you know, where I'm at today, is where like I'm pretty hard on myself. I try to keep on pushing, but like I'm kind of nervous for archaeology coming out, because I think it will affect my stream.
I think so too. It is by far the largest update in years. So I think it's gonna have a lot of like push on Twitch as well, mainly because it's kind of the same way as XP Weekend. I think just worse, because everyone is gonna want to get information, and they usually get that from Twitch these days. So it is without a doubt going to have a massive impact on Twitch the first weeks. This is going to be massive, especially like when the race gets towards the end, when people are getting towards 99. It's going to be insane. I am so excited.
Yeah, it's going to be so fun. And then people will go to Twitch for information, like you said. And then once they've got their information, they can watch the race as such. Because I know there's other streamers like I Trolled You and Omid who are going for 200 mil and racing. And
Yeah.
it's just going to be really fun overall to see where everyone's at, follow them, tune into different streams, see what they're doing, what tactics they're doing, and like methods they're using, etc. I think that will be what draws people back throughout the weeks of release, watching their favorite streamers and rooting for them on the high score race and everything. It's going to be really, really cool.
The thing is, even when Invention was released, that was just like a thing that started and ended before you could blink. Divination, I'd say, would be the last time it was like a proper race, in my opinion.
Yeah, no one really streamed back then compared to now.
Yeah, they didn't. It was 2013. Like, that was like the YouTube days when a friend was big and whatever. That's, yeah, it's a long time ago. So this is going to be very experimental, I think, to see how this, I guess, the push is going to be on Twitch. And with the new... well, I feel like the player base is going to replace itself since then as well. Like, there's a lot... It's a new hierarchy in the player base. There's new top ranks, there's new streamers, there's new video makers, there's new everything. There's new developers making the skills, you know. It's it's going to be very exciting, I think, to see how that's going to go.
Yeah, exactly. And then you also have different streamers attracting different things. For me, obviously, I'm going to be going for 200 mil and doing nothing but the skill inside until I am 200 mil. But for other streamers who like are more about PVM, I guess to name a couple, you could have like RS Guy, Wazzy, Evil Lucario, people like that. They're more PVM focused, so they're going to try and get those ancient gizmos, spend loads of money on perks, perk out their stuff, and then use those new perks, test them, maybe get some cool boss kill times, etc.
Yeah.
So it brings everyone to the category and brings everyone watching and learning alongside the streamer.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to archaeology, whether it be PVMers, skillers, everyone is going to be watching to find out stuff for sure.
The most exciting part, I think, at least from my side, is who's going to be the new overall rank 1. That is just like, it's writing history right there. Like, that person is going to be on that list probably longer than Lemmy has now after Invention, because I don't think they're going to release a new skill anytime soon after Archaeology.
When was the last race?
The last race was 4 years ago with Invention, and to put it into perspective, 5.2 to 5.4, there was about 1 page of people, so 25 people, 5.2, racing to 5.4, and I was speaking to, I told you about it in the last podcast actually, and we were talking about how it's gone from 25 people to over 800 people at 5.4 now, who could potentially be racing to 5.6.
That is going to be so scary.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be scary to everyone who's racing. And you got to remember, coronavirus on top of that now means more people who may not have raced before are now going to be racing because maybe they get time off of work or maybe they're indoors. Same applies to people who aren't even going for 5.6, just people going for 200 mil archaeology. There's going to be a lot of people racing.
That's going to be wild. Like, my wet dream is just to be on the top 1k on the high scores. And even at the moment, I don't, like, that's not realistic to me at the moment, it seems. Just because of the number of people who's going to be going for 200 mil. It's, it's going to be very exciting. I'm extremely, excited for it.
Obviously, on the end of that, it's important to note that this podcast will actually come out slightly after archaeology, but we've recorded it before archaeology in advance, just so it can be one of the videos that I release while I'm focusing on racing. So all of this might have happened already. So all of the first initial hype and stuff might have happened already. And I don't know if it will be what we're saying right now. We'll have to wait and see.
The thing is, right, I have this plan now. I'm going to buy a lot of drinks, buy a lot of crisps, candy, stuff that is going to give me energy, I guess. And I'm going to sit around and try to play for like 48 hours straight.
Jeez.
Purely because that I really want to get like, not necessarily the most XP instantly, but I want to get high level items and sell it for a ton of money. I'll hook you up, Mike.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, that's completely fair. Definitely going to be a lot of money in all of the materials, the chronos, everything. It's going to make a lot of people a lot of money for sure.
We have to do a podcast after the release as well, when everything's are calming down, and be like, guys, we did it! Oh, yeah, we should do that.
How many hours per day are you going to, because you're going to stream this every day, aren't you, Maikeru? Like, how many hours are you going to put, because I know you're going to be playing, like, off stream as well, but how many hours are you going to be streaming this?
So the plan is get as many videos done as possible before archaeology is released, so I can still upload YouTube content, then I can focus solely on streaming on release and the race. So most of my time will be taken up with streaming. I will have to make a couple of archaeology related videos, like the first look into archaeology will be made shortly after release, maybe a day or two after. Then I'll do maybe like a recap of my 99 and 120 progress, but that's mostly just clips from, you know, leveling up and stuff and just talking about my process. So that really isn't too much effort to do. The rest of my time will be focused on just leveling up and streaming whenever I can. So I reckon first week, probably a good 100 hours of streaming, and then I'll try and get a good, like, I don't know, 70 hours of streaming in the other weeks while still going for 200 mil. 10 hours a day or something like that would definitely be the minimum that I'd want to hit. I want to stream as much as I can, essentially. It's just going to be so much fun with everyone.
That's a lot of hours. Man, I don't know how you do it. once my 8 hours come, man, I'm just like, I'm so exhausted. Which I feel like I feel really bad about that sometimes. Like when because I will play like RuneScape 8+ hours a day, but like I'm starting to get into the rhythm of playing RuneScape outside of streaming. But by the time I'm done streaming, like I have so many things I need to do. I need to get Bladed Dive. I just got Enhanced Excalibur, and I need to do all these things, but I would like to do them off stream. But like by the time I'm done streaming, I'm just exhausted because, like I said, I'm not really a talkative person, so like I have to like really express myself and stuff like that. So by the end of it, I'm just like mentally, physically exhausted, which I guess that sounds bad. I'm complaining about playing a video game, but it's actually sad because like my family and Lori's family, they don't really understand it, like that this is my job now. They're like, oh, you're just playing video games. I'm like, yeah, but this is my job now. And they're like, why would you give away programming, you know? Like, that was very successful. And I was like, I'm just tired. Like, if I go to another programming job and I get, laid off again or whatever, that's like 3+ years I just gave away. Why can't I just, make a path my own by myself, So
Yeah, no, I get that entirely. I had the same thing as well when I started talking about like making videos and whatever around my family.
Yeah.
They were skeptical of it. They thought I was like being stupid online and like giving my information out to strangers or whatever. So they didn't get that either. So I get that entire deal about it kind of being difficult to talk about with other people, I guess. But also get the mentally like how you get exhausted about talking for hours on end. I think that's also why I kind of struggle about doing streaming, because I can't do that. It gets exhausting, as well as I'm Norwegian, so I need to like think every time I say anything in English. So I like it's a lot of brain power going on whenever I'm talking.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've never really thought about that with people with English as a second language when streaming. Must be even harder having to translate everything. And honestly, yeah, people don't understand how hard it is to speak for hours and hours and hours on end, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So, Mulletzzz, I have to ask the obvious questions that you probably get sometimes too. But obviously, you know about the massive difference between RuneScape 3 and Old School. So, how can we play RuneScape 3 other than Old School?
I've tried Old School, and I don't know, it just seems a lot slower for my pace. Like, my attention span's awful, so I have to like be going like quite like fast. So it might speed up like the later that I play it, and I haven't given it enough time to like really give like that full answer. But I logged in, I was like, oh man, I don't have Surge. So I was like, oh man.
Right,
so just
yeah.
just to give that example, not just I don't have Surge, but like just the fast pace of RuneScape 3, I just enjoyed that more. And yeah, I might try Old School, like just to like give it like its run. Like I'm not like one of those people. It's like, oh, why are you playing Old School? Like, cause I see that sometimes in my chat and in my Discord. It's like, why are you playing Old School? I'm just the type of person. It's like, hey, they're playing RuneScape. I think that's like the big thing that matters, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're playing a game that is RuneScape in general, and we're both having fun. So why the hate? But yeah, I haven't given Old School enough time to like really give a full answer on that. But like, maybe it's also like a graphic thing, which I know everyone plays it for the nostalgia and stuff, but I don't have that. So I think those two things kind of factor. Is it a great game? Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's amazing because it's RuneScape, but I'm just fully focused on RuneScape 3. I would try to play both of them, but like I said, my attention span, I can't even play 2 accounts on RuneScape 3. Like, I have a hardcore Iron Man, but I haven't touched it since the Coin Black Dragon challenge, which was like 4 or 5 months ago. So yeah, I just try to focus on one thing.
But in your position, though, as a new player who's kind of getting all of this for the first time, how do you view like the tension between the communities?
I don't know. It's kind of unnecessary. Like I said, we're playing RuneScape. Like, when I watched the Golden Gnomes last year, and it seemed like in the chat, which is probably different there, and I can't wait to like go to RuneFest this year and experience like all of that. That's going to be amazing. But I was watching the chat, and whenever like someone would win a award, it would be RuneScape 3 or it'd be Old School. It would be both parties. They would flame the other one. I'm like, why can't you just say thank you, like, or grats or something? It's like, hey, they worked really hard. They won this award. You should say, good job. You don't have to flame them for a game. Because, like, at the end of the day, we're playing RuneScape.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
I feel like it's more old school aimed at RS3 more so. I feel like old school is more of a toxic environment than what RS3 is. And I guess this might be my personal opinion. It obviously, who knows, but I think if you went with old school and done what you did where you were leveling up and progressing with people, having people help you, that would never have happened in old school.
Yeah.
Just because of the fact that old school is more of a toxic environment, like I said, and just like probably less helpful in nature.
Yeah.
And I feel like the RS3 community is the best community I've ever been part of. And the helpfulness of that is huge. And I think your success saw it in RS3 when it probably wouldn't have in old school. Like I said, that's just my speculation, but I do think that helped a lot and it contributed a lot, and you chose the right one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think old school are really interested in like noobs leveling up. They want to see people do, high-end content or high-end PKing or something.
It's such a weird thing with that, though, because I agree with what you're saying, that it is two very different cultures, and it is, in theory, two very different games, but it's so intertwined that it just gets into this weird mix that don't really go along very well. I really appreciate talking to you, Mullets. You have a lot of really, like, nice perspective on things, and you seem like a very genuine fella. I think you're going to do great, and whenever you win your gold gnome this year, can you give me a shout out on stage, please? That'd be great.
I will. I promise.
I'm going to remember this, and if you don't, I'll...
Listen, Will, I promise you, if I get the new streamer of the year, I will definitely say, hey, Will, shout out.
This is
and
for
then
you.
I will walk away. This is for you, Will.
Oh, I'd be like, I love you, and you'd be like, I love you too, and then we'll like have this moment. I think that's going to be fun. Well, thanks everyone for listening in on the Trimming Armour podcast. It's always such a pleasure, just sitting down and just talking about whatever comes to mind. I really enjoy this, and having you guys with us today is nice. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you for taking the time for listening. Thank you for Mulletzzz for joining the stream. You want to do a little self plug? What's your Twitch?
Yeah, you guys can come watch me, Mulletzzz on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mulletzzz. And like I said, I actually had started YouTube about 4 months ago. You could type in Mulletzzz as well. And those are the two things you can find my content.
Brilliant. Follow him on Twitter too while you're at it. It's a nice picture of Maikeru. You can't be wrong.
All right,
I'm waiting for Maikeru to just make it a picture of me. It hasn't happened yet. I'm just waiting for it.
Such a weird bromance going on here. It's weird. Thanks you guys for listening. We'll see you guys next time. My name is Mulletzzz. We got Maikeru and Mulletzzz here, and goodbye.
See ya.